Hello, my wedding planning friends. So, are you thinking about having a destination wedding? Maybe you're picturing yourself saying, I do, on a tropical beach or a mountaintop or even a charming European villa. But before you book the flights and send out the save the dates, let's talk more about the real deal. Because a destination wedding can be magical or it can be a logistical nightmare. In this episode, we're breaking down everything you need to know before deciding if a destination wedding is right for you. Hey there, lovebirds. Welcome back to Big Day DIY, the podcast that helps you plan your wedding like a pro without losing your sanity. I'm your host, Tiffany Lanier, master wedding planner for over 23 years and soon-to-be author of Big Day DIY, the complete wedding planning handbook. Stay tuned for that to come out in September 2025. If you're new here, be sure to join the Facebook community, Big Day Wedding Planning Community, and check out www.bigdaydiy.com for resources, planning tools, and the latest updates. Now let's get into today's topic, destination weddings. Should you have one or not? Let's first define what is a destination wedding. So essentially, destination wedding is any wedding that takes place 24 plus miles away from where 70% of your guests live. This can be tropical, city, mountain, countryside, even overseas. And it usually turns the wedding into a wedding weekend or a week-long event if you're going to be traveling pretty far away. Generally, if you're having an at-home wedding, you're just going to have a one-and-done big party wedding, whereas a destination wedding will have multiple events on that wedding weekend. So let's break it down a little bit. For example, let's say you two live in Chicago, but you both grew up in Northern California. If you host your wedding in Northern California and 70% of your guests live there and therefore do not need a hotel room to come to your wedding, then technically that is not a destination wedding. It's a destination for you because you may have to stay in a hotel or you'll stay with family. On the flip side, if those 70% of people from Northern California come to Chicago to your wedding and stay the weekend, then it is a destination wedding. Essentially, if your guests have to travel and spend the night away from home, then it's a destination wedding. So who pays for it? Your guests will pay for their own hotel room and travel. You as the couple will pay for the wedding package, vendors, and extra hotel fees or add-ons. Pretty much the same as an at-home wedding, only your guests pay for traveling because you're essentially making everybody travel to go to your wedding. Honestly, while destination weddings generally are less expensive than at-home weddings, it is mainly because you have less people coming. So if you find a cheap wedding package at an all-inclusive resort, it's like, oh, you can have your wedding for 50 people for $3,000. It is because your guests are paying for a super high price for your rooms to come to your wedding. And essentially, by having your guests pay so much for their room, it offsets the cost for the resort. The problem with this is that many guests don't want to pay $1,000 a night to come to your wedding. You know, if you really think about it, a lot of those all-inclusive resorts are $1,000, like $600 to $1,000 a night for a couple for all-inclusive resort. And on top of that, you have to pay extra to do private events at the same all-inclusive resort, even though everybody's paying for all-inclusive. It's crazy. So when you think about how much you want your guests to pay to come to your wedding for the hotel and airfare, think about if you were the one invited to a friend's wedding. Let's pretend you're invited to go to your friend's wedding in Italy. How much money would you be willing to pay for a hotel room per night and the airfare in order to go to that wedding? If your friend chose a hotel that costs $700 a night for you and your fiance to go to their wedding, would you go? If you knew you had to stay 4 nights minimum at $700 a night, and you knew that the flight from your home to Rome or wherever in Italy they want you to fly into was going to cost $1,500, would you go? Most likely not. Quite honestly, you know that. So think about if you were invited to a friend's wedding and it was a destination wedding, how much money would you want and hope that your friend chose a hotel per night cost and flights? So let's say your friend, the hotel costs approximately $200 a night. You want to stay for 3-night minimum. And the flight happens to be an easy, nonstop, 3-hour flight from your home airport for approximately $400 round trip. Would you go to that wedding? Honestly, probably, right? So this is the kind of stuff that you want to really think about, is the cost for your guest to go to that wedding. So let us back up a wee bit and talk about pros and cons of having a destination wedding. So you can really think about this. The pros of doing a destination wedding, number one, intimate guest list. Naturally, you're going to have a smaller guest list, meaning even if you invited the 200 people that you would invite to your home wedding, you know that only 100 of those people are going to come to your destination wedding. But that all depends on where is your destination. Is it easy to get to? Is it cheap? Is the hotel that you chose something affordable? Then you'll have more people. So ultimately, having a destination wedding is going to narrow down your guest list to only your nearest and dearest will make the trip. Built-in vacation. You and your guests get to enjoy an extended celebration. Having a unique setting and activities make it super, super unforgettable and an experience. You get scenic backdrops. Destination venues often require less decor because the surroundings are stunning. And you get the cost savings since destination weddings naturally whittles down your guest list to only the people that'll pay to come to your wedding. You will enjoy the savings that a smaller guest list gives. Okay, let's talk about the cons of having a destination wedding, the negatives. So the negative might be the extra costs that your guests have to incur to travel. So costs of flights, hotels, the time off of work, it may limit who all can attend. Number 2 con is planning from afar. If you are a type A personality and need control over everything, this could be super stressful unless you have a full service coordinator that you totally vibe with and will be your boots on the ground. You might have limited vendor selection, using just the local vendors who might operate differently, or you might be limited to the vendors employed by the resort or the venue you choose. And then last con that I can think of is the legal and logistical hurdles, meaning the marriage certificate requirements, weather unpredictability, and cultural differences might prove to be difficult to navigate. So let's talk about the biggest questions to ask yourself before deciding whether a destination wedding is right for you. First question is, are you okay with some guests declining? Think about who on your guest list might not come if you have a destination wedding, either because of the added stress of travel, that they don't want to take off the days from work, or the added expense of the travel. Think about who would decline, and would you be okay if those people did decline? Or do you need them at your wedding? Next question is, can your budget handle added guest accommodations or extra events? So in this question, sometimes if you did identify certain VIP guests that you think won't go due to costs, You might consider paying for the hotel and airfare for those guests. For instance, your little brother, who is a broke college student, or your grandparents on a strict budget. You might want to pay for their hotel and airfare. You also might want to host an activity like a catamaran cruise or a local tour that will be an additional cost, but you wanted to bear that cost in order to have all of your guests attend. Next question. Are you comfortable planning remotely or hiring a local wedding planner? Will there be a language or cultural barrier that will make planning difficult? And what are the communication standards of your destination location? Do you think that it'll be an issue if you don't hear back from somebody in a few days when you ask a question? This comes up quite a bit. We answer questions very, very fast because we're used to the American bride. But a lot of the people at the resorts, I hear it all the time from people that they don't hear back when they ask questions. They get ghosted by their planner, or at least they feel like they're ghosted by their planner. However, in certain cultures or locations, they won't respond until they have all the answers. And it might take a week to get all the answers. So while you think they're ignoring you, they're actually just gathering up all the information that you asked for, and they'll get it to you in a week or two. But they just don't have the communication style to tell you, hey, I got your email, I'll let you know in a while. So that sometimes can be super frustrating. And last question, do you want a relaxed multi-day event or do you just want one big party? So if you want a multi-day experience, then a destination wedding is where it's at. But if you want just one big party, a one and done, then an at-home wedding might be best. If you're looking for an intimate, experience-based wedding, then yes, destination wedding is right for you. If you have a large, close-knit family who would struggle to travel, maybe not. I guess it depends on your location and your family. And if you're a control freak who cannot handle the unknowns, then you might want to reconsider a destination wedding. I know who you are. And it's hard enough to do an at-home wedding if you're a control freak. I'm telling you what, it's going to be difficult. But I swear, even control freaks need help by other control freaks. And most control freaks are wedding planners, FYI. Okay, so let me go through some pro tips. I got 6 pro tips when planning a destination wedding. Let's say you chose, I'm going to do a destination wedding. Then these tips are for you. First tip, choose a destination that does not take more than 5 hours to travel to. So if you are in the US and you want your guests to travel to like South Africa or Asia, for instance, it's not going to happen. People are not going to travel 20 hours plus on a travel day each way. It's going to take way too long to get there. And then when they do get there, like, you don't want to travel that long and just stay for 4 days and come back. You can't even get through jet lag that fast. Like, So you want to really find a location that is 5 hours away from you and easy to actually get to, because you'll lose a bunch of people if you make it more difficult. Rule of thumb is to choose a location with the cheapest flights, nonstop is preferred, least amount of hassle, and choose a hotel that is both beautiful and affordable. Unicorn location? I know, but they exist. Okay. Second pro tip, give your guests at least 9 to 12 months notice, meaning send out your save the dates 9 to 12 months before. Your guests are going to need the time to put in for time off from work, to save for the trip, and to make whatever arrangements they need to make. Third, negotiate a room block at an affordable hotel and put the booking link or promo code on your website. Now, this is assuming you will be making a website, absolutely, and You're going to make that wedding website easy to navigate and ensure it has all the information for your guests so that they can book their travel and know exactly what to expect. Reminder here, you do not need a travel agent if you're going to do a destination wedding unless you strongly feel like your guest needs some major hand-holding. Pro tip 4, planning events outside of the wedding day to make it fun for your guests. Make it into a wedding experience with, let's pretend, welcome drinks on the first night. People arrive, they fly in, they all check into the hotel. You are doing welcome drinks at the hotel bar that first night, watching sunset, meet and greet, mingling, having a great time. Then the second day, maybe it's a free day, maybe it's a local tour, maybe it's something fun at your destination. Wherever you are, do some sort of a fun experience. Don't have the wedding just the next day because it's too much. So something fun, bar hopping, wine tasting, do something that next day. Then on the third day, you're there, you have the wedding. Wedding day that third day, super huge party, the main event. And then round it out with a farewell brunch on your final day. It doesn't need to be a lot of work. It just needs to give your guests opportunities to gather and have a great time. Tip number 5. Consider symbolic ceremony and legalize your marriage at home to simplify things. 95% of my clients do this because it is not necessary and usually a huge pain in the butt to be legally married in Mexico. So you do the legalities at home before leaving for the wedding, and then you have your meaningful and totally customized wedding ceremony in front of your friends and family. Once you decide your destination, then you can decide how you want to do the legalities, if you want to do the legal paperwork at home in the courthouse or take it with you. It just depends on your destination. And my last pro tip, hire a local wedding planner to handle on-site logistics. Getting the right one is super important. Similar to my conversation about wedding planners in my last episode, hiring a local planner will save you the cost they charge in spades. They will help you choose the right vendors, giving you local advice, letting you know when logistics will work and will not work, how to deal with the weather in that area, and all of the wedding day setup and logistics. If you're having a resort wedding and it comes with a venue coordinator, reminder that they work for the resort and not for you. So make sure that you understand exactly what you're getting in your wedding package and what you're not getting. And always assume, that the person you're meeting with when you book will not be the one who will be there at your wedding. At least in Cancun, the planners employed by the resorts change all the time. So make sure you have everything in writing. And if the person is the same person that you hired when you first signed the papers and you love them, amazing. That's great. But if not, you got to cover your butt. Let me tell you a little bit about how we work at Sunhorse Weddings, because I'm talking about a destination wedding and whether you should or shouldn't. And I think that this is a great place where I can explain a little bit about what we do at Sunhorse Weddings, how we do destination weddings. It's a little bit different. I know that it's different than everybody else does weddings because I created it this way to be different. So we specialize in full-service destination weddings in Isla Mujeres, Mexico. We're not associated with any hotel or venue. So we help you choose which local hotel works best for you and your group, and we help you set up a room block, and we match you with a private venue that fits your vibe and your budget. At least on Isla Mujeres, Mexico, there are multiple venues to choose from because most of our venues are day clubs. People come over from Cancun and hang out on our beaches. So we have all of these day clubs that are available for day trippers, and then at night they close down. So we have used them for 23 years as wedding locations. Once everybody leaves for the day, we open it up as a wedding location. So we help you fit which of these private locations are great for your group between the size, what kind of food they provide, and their price. Then your guests buy their own plane tickets and they book their own hotel room using your link that we helped you get. We manage all of the wedding aspects. We give you a list of awesome vendors to choose from. You let us know which ones you want, and we handle all the details. You're free to hire your own vendors like photographers and stylists if you want to. You can bring them even. But we will help you plan and manage all of the other aspects. We help you create your own wedding weekend experience by adding the reception, the welcome reception, the catamaran cruise, the golf cart scavenger hunt, or bar crawl to explore the island. We help you with Mayan ruin tours, deep sea fishing, whatever you want. We also walk you through the entire wedding planning process. I ask you so many questions. People are like, oh my God, do I really have to know what color bouquet ribbon I have? Yes, you do. I ask you. And if you don't care, I'm going to choose cream. I'm just letting you know. Essentially, we walk you through the entire wedding planning process. We book all of your vendors for you. We sign all of the vendor contracts for you, and you pay through us. So you don't need to be in contact with all of your vendors. We do all of that for you. It's an absolute one-stop shop. All in, a full-service wedding with us at Sunhorse Weddings might cost an average of $200 to $400 per guest, not including hotel and airfare. And quite honestly, this is the same price you would get in the States, but it's more affordable because you have less guests, right? If you think you want this kind of wedding, then go to sunhorseweddings.com and fill out the inquiry form. I might be biased. I know I am, because I feel like Isla Mujeres is the absolute perfect location for a destination wedding. With the fact that it is 40 minutes away from the Cancun airport, which is super cheap to fly into and has tons of nonstop flights coming in because it's Cancun. It's a tropical island in the Caribbean with tons of restaurants and things to do both in the water and on land. It's super safe, and you get to experience Mexico without being stuck at a resort the whole time. So yeah, I think Isla Mujeres is the best place to do a destination wedding. But I digress. There are other locations. There's some amazing locations in Florida if you want beach, or up in the mountains. Colorado has amazing locations. Like, there are so many destination locations around that you could find that are close enough to you, but feels so far away from home, which makes it that destination wedding feel. So on the flip side of a full-service wedding coordinator like myself, you have the all-inclusive wedding, right? You go to an all-inclusive hotel and they have wedding packages. This is when you probably have a travel agent helping you, like a sandals resort type wedding, where you contact them on their website, you choose the resort, they have packages right there. You get the hotel wedding coordinator about a month or two before your wedding. You're not allowed any outside vendors because they have their own on-site photographer and stylist and food and beverage and DJ and all of those things. Everything is included in the all-inclusive package. You are not allowed to hire any outside vendors. And if you do, it's going to cost you an extra $700 plus to get them into the property. But it is all done for you. You don't have to do anything. The issue with this kind of wedding for me is that you better like that photographer and you better like that DJ and you better like that package because you don't have any other options. It is kind of like cookie cutter in a way, and you're not allowed to bring any of your own decor either. Like, I've heard of hotels that don't even let you bring in your own fake bouquets. Like if you were going to bring in sola wood or silk floral bouquet, and they don't even let you do that. Like, it is that regimented. So if you want a customized wedding, that's when you will want to pay to have a full service coordinator find you a venue that can be totally customized. Otherwise, if you don't really care and you just want to do an all-inclusive resort and hang out with your friends and family for 3 days and let the resort coordinator handle all of the details and you just pick a couple colors and that's it, then that works. That's absolutely okay. The cost will essentially be approximately the same as a customized wedding, but your guests will pay more for their hotel room, which might offset your costs for the wedding package. So after all of this discussion of whether you should have a destination wedding or not, what did you decide? Should you have a destination wedding? It depends. If you're all about an intimate, memorable, travel-filled experience, then absolutely go for it. But if the logistics and guest travel stress you out, a hometown wedding might be a better fit. But at the end of the day, do what feels right for the two of you, not for anybody else. What is right for you? All right, that is it for today. If you loved today's episode, please subscribe and leave a review. It helps more couples find us. Join our Big Day Wedding Planning community on Facebook and check out www.bigdaydiy.com for all of your wedding planning needs. Until next time, happy planning. And remember, your wedding, your way.